James Harden dropped 50. 50. 5-0. Had a triple-double, too. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know how long. I think there's been like 6 or 7 triple-doubles that involved 50 or more points. I think it was like in the last quarter century. James Harden has 4 of them in the last 2 years. 4. 50 points or more in the form of a triple-double. Assists, rebounds, etc. The brother's special. 50 points, 10 rebounds, 11 assists. James Harden is special. He's unstoppable. Now, when I talked about my top 5 shooting guards, okay, obviously the top 2 would be MJ and Kobe. Put D-Wade on that list as well. James Harden's top 5 all time. The only reason why you wouldn't definitively put James Harden above that is because we all know he plays defense about as much as I enter a fitness contest, which is say 0. He doesn't really play defense. That's not what he does. But he is elite. He can play. I believe he can play a little bit of it when he puts his mind to it. But he's just so explosive offensively, who gives a damn, really? We really don't care. I tell you what I do care about. I care about something that happened last night with the Los Angeles Lakers that I think affects everybody, whether it's the Knicks, it's the Nets, it's Philly, it's Boston, it's Toronto, it's Houston, it's L.A. and beyond. The Los Angeles Lakers watched as James Harden basically converted 18 of 19 free throws. He ended up in the 2 meetings that he's had this year. James Harden by himself has shot 34 free throws. Shot 34 free throws. Now, let me tell you something about what the Lakers did. The Lakers, led by LeBron James, became so frustrated, they took their hands and put it behind their backs to play defense, just so the referees wouldn't call fouls. That's how disgusted they were. And they were so disgusted by it. And I got to tell y'all something. They were justified. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I don't encourage somebody not to compete. I don't encourage somebody not to go out there and try to win or whatever. But we have now gotten to a point. And by the way, that referee that you just saw on the screen when LeBron James had his back, his hands behind his back, that's the great James Capers, a phenomenal referee for many, many years. That's James Capers. But I will tell you this. My issue with it, more than anything else, too many calls are being made. I love the NBA game. Ain't no bigger fan of the NBA than me. But the referees interrupt action too much for too many ticky-tack fouls. And when you got your arms spread and all James Harden or Chris Paul has to do is literally rock their arms back and forth with the ball in his hands and put their arm under your arm to act like they're coming up to shoot a shot and get a foul that way, I think it's utterly ridiculous. And it's not something that should be called. It's interrupting and interfering with the flow of the basketball game. I don't blame LeBron James enough for being that frustrated. I truly don't. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. That was Straight Talk Wireless, nationwide coverage in America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE network. Kevin Durant started off slow. He's coming on strong. Kevin Durant, everybody talking about him like he's having some kind of bad year. Yep, Kevin Durant is struggling. He looks miserable, ladies and gentlemen. Just finished dropping over 43 consecutive games. The man is averaging 29.8. With 8 rebounds, 6 assists. Shooting 52% from the field. 34% from three-point range. 91% from the free throw line. And he got a handle. And he could create his own shot. And he could catch and shoot. And he has a mid-range game. And he has a three-point shot. What the hell are y'all talking about? Kevin Durant not top 5? Kevin Durant is top 3 on the planet Earth. Top 3 on the planet Earth when it comes to playing basketball. The hell are you talking about? It's just unbelievable, the stuff that I've been hearing. Kevin Durant is also a two-time champion, the reigning two-time NBA Finals MVP. We all know how I felt about his move going to Golden State. I thought it was the weakest move I've ever seen by a superstar. But the operative word was superstar. You know why? Because I didn't negate to recognize the fact that he was a superstar prior to going to Golden State. He didn't just get here. He didn't just get here. Kevin Durant is not some dude that rolled into Golden State, some average player feeding off of Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, and suddenly we recognize he could ball. We got on Kevin Durant because he could ball. We got on him because he's a superstar. We got on him because he's that great. He's that great. You're walking around here acting like he's some average player. You don't do what Kevin Durant do or does. The hell is the matter with you people? So a two-time champion and a two-time NBA Finals MVP is sitting there and talking. And what is he saying? Basketball-wise, he's breaking it down. Now, whether you agree or disagree with him, what's the haterism about? Kyle Korver, he needs somebody to pass and handle the ball and create open shots for him. A young star like Kawhi Leonard wouldn't. He wants to hold the ball and post up and wants the offense to run through him. That's what he said. These are basketball critiques. If we got a problem with a two-time champion who's a two-time NBA Finals MVP, who is universally recognized as one of the greatest scorers we have ever seen in the history of basketball, if we got a problem with him breaking down stuff from a strictly basketball perspective, ladies and gentlemen, I got news for you. None of us deserve a job in this business. None of us deserve a job in this business. I have to shut the hell up. Jalen has to shut the hell up. Everybody has to shut the hell up. Max and everybody else included. If we can sit up there and say that this man doesn't have a right to express himself about basketball, we have lost our ever-loving minds. What's my issue with what Jalen Rose is saying? Assuming that the reports are correct, because I'm looking at it on social media. I didn't watch him say this myself. But they're saying, Kevin Durant comes across as jealous. What about what he said basketball-wise? Do you agree or disagree? We asked the man a basketball question. He gives us a basketball answer, and we have a problem with it because we are looking for some ulterior motive or agenda. If I ask you a basketball question and you give me a basketball answer, I'm going to critique your basketball answer. I'm not going to sit up there and say you're jealous just because you said something that I didn't agree with. I mean, this is just unbelievable. I know Kevin Durant didn't win championships. And I'm going to say it again. Him going to Golden State was the weakest move I've ever seen by a superstar. Why? Because he was in the Western Conference Finals, Game 7, knocking on the door for a championship, and they blew a 3-1 lead, and then he went to the team that beat him a month later. I was appalled by that decision. But I would never have the temerity, the unmitigated gall, to turn around and think that suddenly that gives me a license to question this man's greatness as a basketball player. Pick any era you want and tell me what era would Kevin Durant not be a star in with his abilities. There are certain dudes that are transcendent basketball figures. He's one of them. It doesn't matter what era you put him in. He's that great. It doesn't make sense to me how people can have a problem with this. It really, really doesn't. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. That was a couple of items on my mind. Here's another one. I'm disgusted with the Philadelphia 76ers. And Toronto looks real. I'll give Max credit for that. I got to tell you something. Boston better get their act together. The Boston Celtics had better get their act together. I got the Boston Celtics going to the NBA Finals. I might have to change my mind. Kawhi Leonard looks sensational. No denying that. But the rest of the Raptors Kyle Lowry, Valanciunas, Anunoby, Siakam. I mean, Danny Green being there with them. Look, man, they are loaded. Nick Nurse can coach. They're loaded. They've got depth, and they don't have to worry about LeBron. And I'm watching Nick Nurse last night. He's getting interviewed after the third quarter. And they're talking about how Jimmy Butler has got like 27 at the time and all of this other stuff for the Sixers. And Nick Nurse says, yeah, he's rolling. I guess I'm going to have to put Kawhi on him in the fourth quarter. I guess that's what I'm going to have to do. I'm going to have to put Kawhi on him. Okay? Because you see, DeMar DeRozan, major props to the brother. He can ball. He's no scrub. But there are levels to this, and he is no Kawhi Leonard. And Kawhi Leonard and what we're seeing him do, it's special to behold. No question about it. He's an MVP candidate, by the way. He really is. But I got news for y'all. If the Boston Celtics don't get their act together, ladies and gentlemen, the Toronto Raptors going to the finals. They're deep. They're talented. They're athletic. And on top of it all, they're devoid of the roadblock that has been LeBron James for the previous 4 years. I'm telling you right now, Toronto is a team to be reckoned with. As for the Philadelphia 76ers, not so much. They're a piece away. They think they're better than what they are. They're not. Ben Simmons, you can't have 8 points and 7 rebounds yesterday. You just can't. Joel Embiid, you got to learn to play with your back to the basket. Brett Brown, you got to force him to. And Elton Brand, you need another piece. Markelle Fultz obviously ain't it. So you got to find something else. Sound a bit melancholy at this particular moment in time. There's a reason why. Just praying for Alex Smith, quarterback for the Washington Redskins. Story developing as we speak. Alex Smith, if you remember, broke the tibia and the fibula on his, I believe it was his right leg, November 18th against the Houston Texans at FedEx Field. Now there are concerns that he may be actually dealing with a career-ending injury because the tibia and fibula fracture to his right leg has been infected. And because he's fighting off an infection, the recovery has been incredibly difficult. Statement from the Washington Redskins. On behalf of Alex Smith, we appreciate all of the concerns and prayers over the injury he incurred on November 18th against the Houston Texans. Although this is a serious injury, Alex and his family remain strong. We would ask that everyone please honor the Smith family's request for privacy at this time. Fair enough. Wishing him absolutely, positively nothing but the best. Obviously, you don't wish that on anybody. You want him to recover fully and be back playing the game of football. And I'll just leave it at that. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. During the break, I listened to Jalen Rose for ESPN's Get Up in the Morning speak about Kevin Durant and talked about the word jealousy, accused him of hating, et cetera, et cetera. I didn't see it that way. I genuinely did not see it that way. I think that Kevin Durant was talking about the reality of a situation, you know, being with LeBron if you're the other star on the team. If you are a marginal player or just an average player or whatever, it's all about LeBron, but you don't mind because he's going to assist in winning. But if you're somebody that believes you're elite and that you could play a pivotal role in contributing to winning yourself, you ain't trying to take a back seat to anybody. And with LeBron, everyone in today's generation must take a back seat. Jalen, along with Mike Greenberg, consistently allude to the unselfishness of LeBron James. And I think they misconstrue things from time to time. There have been times when LeBron has been selfish. And again, I'm not knocking or disrespecting LeBron James in any way. What I mean by that is this. Yes, he will defer. Yes, he will make the right play and give up the last shot, et cetera, et cetera. But because his greatness commands that the ball be in his hands, because he's such a basketball savant, he's usually making the appropriate decisions. There are times he doesn't. There are times he takes defensive plays off. There are times where the offense has to go through him, and that forces everybody around him to be spectators. And that's not what they want their games limited to. These are all things that NBA players take into consideration. Now, that doesn't strip LeBron James of the greatness that he has, because the results speak for themselves. But there are many occasions where his brand, his style of play isn't necessarily conducive to the growth of another player. And Kevin Durant pointing that out makes sense. Now, you got somebody like Jalen that says, well, this proves there's no way in hell Kevin Durant will go to L.A. I kind of agree with that to some degree. I don't think it's because of that statement. I just think that wherever Kevin Durant wants to go, Kevin Durant made up his mind before the season even began. But I will tell you this. Kevin Durant is more of an ideal fit to play alongside LeBron than most, because Kevin Durant doesn't care about that attention. Kevin Durant just wants to hoop. And his skills are incredibly and extraordinarily complementary to LeBron's. More so than a Kawhi Leonard or even an Anthony Davis. So I think that's how you got to look at it. I think that's how you got to absorb it. I think that's how you got to take it. Now, if there's something to be upset about what Kevin Durant said, be a media member accused of fawning over LeBron James or delivering and disseminating fluff or something like that. Yeah, you got a right to be upset if Kevin Durant was talking about you. LeBron James has no business being upset. Anybody who knows basketball has no business being upset. Not to mention the fact that Kevin Durant has asked a basketball question, and he's given a basketball answer. Kevin Durant didn't just sit up there and say LeBron James playing with him is toxic. He told you why. He brought up a Kyle Korver. He brought up mid-level players. He brought up Kawhi Leonard. He brought up stars. Plus, you have the backup information of Kyrie Irving leaving Cleveland. And we all know why that happened, because Kyrie told us. You got history in terms of why Kobe wanted to sever ties with Shaq. He told you. Now, granted, at one time they despised one another, and at one time they didn't get along with each other, and we all wish they could have gotten along together because they might have won 7 or 8 titles. But Kobe, as I told y'all years ago, I ain't trying to be your little brother. I'm trying to be my own man. And then years later, with Shaq working on TNT and him talking to Kobe just last year, Kobe reflected on how Shaq once compared him to Penny Hardaway. He's like Penny to me. And Kobe was like, nah, I don't see myself like that. You know why? Because Kobe knew he was better than Penny Hardaway. And he didn't like being compared or put in that same sentence as somebody who had talent, but didn't necessarily have a Super Bowl title. I'm sorry, not a Super Bowl, but an NBA championship on his resume. Y'all can't understand that? I cannot believe for the life of me how this story has gained legs for that reason. No wonder why you got folks like my boy Champ and my boys in Hollis and my boys in L.A. and beyond always going off about how LeBron is pacified. I'm not saying they're right sometimes, because they're not. And I do think that LeBron at times takes too much heat. But it's stuff like this that gives their argument credence. Excuse me. It's stuff like this that gives their argument credence. You ask Kevin Durant, a 2-time champion, a 2-time NBA Finals MVP, one of the greatest players we've ever seen in NBA history, who may very well go down as top 10 all time when all is said and done. You asked him a basketball question. He broke it down for you. And all we could come up with is he hating or he jealous? And then we're going to sit up there and say, LeBron's one of the more unselfish players. That's not true. LeBron believes in playing the right way. LeBron believes in doing the right things. He's great. So because he's great, sometimes the selfishness escapes us. But there are times that LeBron calls his own number instead of somebody else's just because he can. Not because it's best. There are times he takes defensive plays off. There are times that he takes shots that he shouldn't take, that he makes turnovers that he shouldn't take, that he ignores getting people the ball who should have the ball. There are moments, it's not a lot, but there are moments that happens. I remember when I was in college, my boy Phil Hayes was going up against my man Beetle in Michigan, from Michigan. Beetle was from Michigan. And my man Phil Hayes was going against him. And Beetle was getting the best of him that day, just hitting everything. And that particular day, Phil couldn't guard him. And somebody said to Phil, I got him, I got him. Phil said, what, is he guard? Is he guard? Man, back up. That's what I'm saying about y'all, LeBron James. What's he guard? He's guard now. You can't say anything about him? From a basketball perspective, you Kevin Durant, you can't critique what playing with him would be like, the pros and cons that come with it. You can't do that? You got to be kidding me. I ain't trying to come to no defense of Kevin Durant, but these are the kind of things I've said for years. And the fact of the matter is, what he said was absolutely on the money, and it was not disrespectful to LeBron James. Fellas, when you need a last-minute gift guaranteed to bring smiles, check out 1-800-Flowers.com. When you order 12 peppermint roses for only $29.99, you'll get an extra half dozen and a vase for free. Go to 1-800-Flowers.com/ESPN. Why did I just do that read, John? Why did I just do that read, JC? You know why? Because evidently that's what everybody wants us to do. They want us to call 1-800-Flowers and get LeBron James some flowers. That's what they want. What you going to ask us to do next? Give him a damn massage or a pedicure? We're talking basketball. I don't want to hear about haterism. I don't want to hear about jealousy. You Jalen Rose, you Mike Greenberg, both of y'all, the Get Up crew. I want to know the answer to one question. Is Kevin Durant right? Don't give me the motivation. Don't give me the agenda. Is he right or not? Mr. Fab Five, is he right? That's all I want to know. I know Jalen Rose knows his basketball. And I know Mike Greenberg know their sports. I had no idea they were Dear Abby, too. I didn't know, y'all. I didn't know. I didn't know they were Dear Abby. He's jealous. It's haterism, getting all emotional. I got some damn tissue right here. That's where we at now? We can't talk basketball? Hell y'all gonna do? Give LeBron a foot massage next?